All right, here we go. Hey, welcome back, Twisters. Nick here with something special. Now, I normally will do a series recap between the Sharks and their opponent when they play two games, but because I'm a little bit short on time, I got to get up early tomorrow to go snowboarding. I'll be out for the whole day. I decided I'd do a live stream now that the Sharks have wrapped up their second game against the Anaheim Ducks, in which they've fallen by the score of 2-1 in a shootout. So the Sharks, again, going to a shootout. Again, the Sharks not being able to hold the lead. They score the first goal 11 seconds in. Logan Couture, everybody's just bum rushing the net, and I certainly do love that. But then this team just, I don't get it. You got Ryan Miller in net. All due respect, Ryan Miller, I got his jersey hanging up here from when he played for the Vancouver Canucks. And, they don't test him. They throw, 25 shots on net, more or less? They don't even have a shot on goal in the overtime. What the hell is happening with this team? I don't understand it. Bugner's tried game in, game out. And Isaiah, hey, congrats on the win. Good job. This team, they've tried so many different things over the course of 10 games, different shifts in personnel. Stuff isn't working. It's not working. It's very, very discouraging when you're scoring the first goal or sometimes scoring the first two goals, losing the game. When you have one power play the whole game. One thing that's telling you is that the team isn't skating hard enough out there, at least not up and down the depth chart right there. I've said this before. What's going on? Like Gambrell and Nieto are your best players that from the forward group. They've been among the best. Them, Sorensen, and they've been among the best players there. And I love seeing Couture getting the jump. To start out the third period in that first game and the first period in this game. That's good. Okay. Kane made some good plays out there. Meyer made a couple of good plays. Hertl, not so much, honestly. I love Tomas Hertl. But again, not enough there. And I thank you guys for joining us here, doing things a little bit differently with my game recap. This is going to be a quicker stream for those of you who are tuning in here. But thank you nonetheless. I appreciate you hanging around. Dubnyk just stood on his head the whole night. Just an unbelievable performance from him, except for in the shootout right there. But the thing is, the Sharks shouldn't be going into a shootout against the Ducks in back-to-back games. That should not be happening. And I feel for Dubnyk because this guy has actually, I think, played pretty well through his 4 starts right here. And he's just not being rewarded with any sort of goal support or defensive commitment from his teammates. Donato did pretty well. You think so too? Oh yeah. He scored another goal too. I mean, Donato's been very, very good so far too. So I mean to throw him a bone as well. But I saw Carlson last night in the first game. I thought he played pretty well. Tonight though, this guy's in his head out there. I want to see him do well. I honestly do. But the decisions that he was making when trying to clear the puck out of the zone and move it up in transition tonight was terrible. And that was something I saw from a lot of his teammates as well, Tomas Hertl included. I don't like to rip into these guys as much, but 10 games into it, it's one thing if you're shaking off the rust in the first maybe 4 games, but all the talk for that stuff is over, guys. You had a whole week to regroup, get your legs back, and it's not even close, man. We're playing like 15 minutes of good hockey, maybe. I thought the first period, again, this team was pretty good. But the second, the last 4 minutes, pretty good. But other than that, so lackluster. They didn't have they had 1 shot on goal 16 minutes through that second period. The team has a minus 13 goal differential in the second. I need to leave the room or else I'm going to get demonetized for this video with just how upset I am, how disgusted I am. And thank you, Sports Geek Super Chat. Much appreciated. Hey, guys. So, yeah, we're going to be they got to stop playing Hero Puck. You know what? You've got a point there, Riley. I think that a guy like Erik Karlsson out there, that he's just trying to make all the cutesy perfect plays and get the perfect setup going. You guys need shots at the net. You got outshot by the Anaheim Ducks in back-to-back games. Isaiah or anybody else who's a Ducks fan joining the stream, look, I'm just looking at the depth charts here, okay? You guys are let's be honest, you're not Vegas, you're not Colorado. That doesn't mean you're not going to be better than us on the season because you certainly look like it in this series, to be honest. It doesn't look like a playoff team whatsoever. It doesn't even look like I don't even know if it looks like an NHL team, to be frank. I'm just so disgruntled. You heard my rant after the Colorado series. The team goes home. Bob Bugner says, I think it's a completely different team. And so I expect more. I don't see why we can't expect more. When we haven't seen it from Hertl, when we haven't seen it consistently from Meyer or from Kane. I like seeing the captain come in, Logan Couture, and I hope that maybe that's a little bit more momentum. Couture is the guy who leads by example out there, right? You think about Couture against Vegas, right? The guy, when the team is down, he is the one who comes through. And I think that maybe he's turning a bit of a corner there, right? When he's going straight to the net in there. Yeah, pardon your language. I know what you mean. All right. Watch the Caps, by the way, guys, because I do have a when I normally have Streamlabs as my medium for this, it does monitor for Caps spamming. So just FYI, guys. Okay. Regroup and beat the Kings twice. I mean, is it too much to think that we should win one game against them? We are going against our head coach, our former head coach, and Todd McClellan. And I said this before, guys. I said this today, actually. This is not a coaching issue, I don't think. This is on the players. All right. We saw this team go as far as they could with Ron Wilson, with Todd McClellan, with Peter DeBoer. Bob Bugner's not even a full season into this. Okay. I look at what Drew Remendez said in a talk with, I think, Brody Brazil this past evening. And he was talking about how he sees the structure that Bugner's trying to implement, and that there needs to be essentially a consistent buy-in from this team to that. It's going to be different for some of these players. Brent Burns has to be a different player, and you are seeing some differences there. That's what Drew was talking about, and I love having him back, by the way. And he's right. The thing is that this team is not, even though it has a lot of similar players, if it wants to be successful, it can't rely on the same style of play that got them there, 2 seasons ago and before that as well. So anyway, that just really, really ticks me off when you get outshot both games in a back-to-back against the Ducks. Okay. When you lose the face-off battle, I was looking at face-offs, I think in overtime here, 33-25. That's the last thing I saw right here. You look at the fact the team had one goal, one goal, first of all. Second of all, they had one shot on goal, 16 minutes in the second period. They're minus 13 goal differential in the second period. That's the worst in the NHL, or it's up there with Nashville. It's pitiful. I love the way that this team comes out in general, though. That is a big improvement over DeBoer. But the rest of the way, I don't know how you go into the dressing room. You should have some confidence, right? You have a lead, or you're still tied. You guys have come out there and established either a forecheck or some physicality. But then when they come back out there, I don't understand whatsoever. Guys. Dylan Gambrell, I'm just looking at my hand notes here. I'm not going to get all fancy with the box score or anything like that. My time is short for this evening. Dylan Gambrell, love what I see from this guy. Really, I like what I see from him. He's making good decisions with the puck, and his effort defensively is there. And I haven't seen any signs of that slowing down, honestly. I hope he gets more ice time. Hertl, Randy Hahn was pointing this out on the broadcast here. Tomas Hertl didn't even play in the overtime last night. He was in the overtime tonight, though. Vlasic's minutes got cut in the last game. He was at about 17 and a half minutes. Bob Bugner, I hope he can send these sorts of messages, okay? While guys like Gambrell play well, while guys like Matt Nieto play well, and on the backside, while you have Ferraro, I thought he still played pretty well tonight. Shimmick looked pretty good as well. Knizhov, personally, guys, I think Knizhov, he's looking really good. One thing that is, I think, kind of undervalued when you look at his game right now, he gets shots on net. The guy doesn't think twice about it. It's a breath of fresh air from Erik Karlsson. To see a guy who actually says, hey, I got the puck, there's a clear shooting lane, I'll just put the puck on net. I don't shoot the puck, 98 miles an hour, but guess what? It goes through, and, maybe have some traffic in front of the net. We need more just like simple plays like that. And tonight we didn't get that. Not enough. It's clearly not enough. When I think of just, how we tried to move these terrible decisions about us trying to move the puck out of our zone, it was guys who were making these passes with their heads down, one, or you saw guys trying to skate 1-on-3 and do it by themselves. It wasn't just Karlsson doing that too. Hurdle was in there. I saw other guys trying to make those plays. And to me, man, it grinds my gears. It pisses me off, frankly. And what's going through this team in the locker room right now? Is it the same thing that happened when they were down 3-1 after the second period yesterday? Bugner said, hey, words were exchanged. My thoughts were that was something that was more driven by the players. What's it going to take? You know, do you have to send a message by demoting someone? Do you already say, hey guys, we're not getting the offense out there? So what we decided to do was I'm just going to throw this in there as an example. We'll ship off Timo Meier, okay? Because something about this team right now is not showing enough commitment. Send a message. 10 games through. We are, 15% of the way through the season? I know, we got plenty of hockey left. But you look at that at the basement of that division right there. When we play Anaheim the way we did, we sure as hell are not going to come out of it, man. No. Arizona beat the Blues today. I thought that was kind of interesting. 3-1 right there. Yeah, I don't want to trade Timo, but you know, with the way that things are going, we need some value, man. 12%. Thank you. So those are just some notes I had from tonight's game right there. Of course, last night was quite the trip, right? Again, we get on the board with the first goal, but the Sharks are just having a hard time holding leads this year. Plain and simple. You know, and you thought that maybe we'd be in a more defensive-oriented battle. We were tonight, absolutely, but that first game was actually a lot more opened up, and it was, of course, the tale of 3 different periods, or 4 if you want to count overtime in the shootout. They need to change the power play. You know what? I was actually thankful that tonight we didn't have to see more than just one power play. I thought there were a couple of terrible missed calls, probably on both sides, but certainly I normally don't complain about refs, but yeah, there was a potential high stick to Kane, and there was somebody tripped Tomas Hertl. But whatever, man. If we're going to trot out the same power play that we saw, you know, tonight and the night before, I don't give a damn, honestly. You know, our best weapon is our penalty kill right now. Our penalty kill is climbing the ranks. Anaheim's got a great penalty kill as well. Actually, the last 2 teams, Anaheim came into this game 5th. Colorado, after that series against us, they're 1st. So, you know, our power play, it needs to be better. But we were playing against some good PKs there as well. So let's see. What else do I want to take a look at here? They need to play in their system. Yeah, I mean, I want them to as well. I just think that sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks, I suppose. But split Karlsson and Burns on the power play. Yeah, I agree. Or you know what, man? Just say, hey, one of you go out as power play 1. And if you guys score, let's say Burns comes out for power play number 1, okay? If they score a goal with Burns out there, or if they, you know, have a couple of good chances, shots on goal, then Burns comes out on power play 1 the next time. If not, Carl comes out there on power play 1. But I'm sick and tired of seeing like both of these guys eat up so much ice time like that. I don't think Burns is playing nearly as poorly on the power play because he's a different role than Karlsson is. But I'd rather see guys like Ferraro and Knizhov out there. They're decisive. They're decisive, and when they have to make decisions at pinch, they make a simple decision. That is so much better than what I'm seeing from again, Karlsson and from other players out there. So, this team has got a ton of holes, man. A ton of holes. It's like a grunger's pair of jeans, man. It is looking ugly. By the way, I want to highlight that tonight we had Rudolfs Balcers making his debut. Kind of a quiet debut from him, let's be honest. He didn't get nearly as much ice time as maybe he would have if the team would have kept producing out there or not been in such a nail biter. But Sasha Shimilevsky was centering the fourth line last night, and he looked good. His first shift, guys, was really good. You know what? Even before that assist, he had a terrific back check that would have been an odd man chance for Anaheim there. So I want to give Sasha some credit there. And the Beach Boys line right there with him and Nieto coming from Huntington Beach and Long Beach, respectively, along with Marcus Sorensen, who, come on, let's look at him. The guy looks like he could be a surfer anyway. So the Beach Boys line looked pretty good. I wouldn't mind seeing them back there again. Again, Bugner's been juggling the lines all too much. The thing with that, guys, is that when you do it so many times and it's still not working, well, then what do? Do you go back and shuffle them some more, or do you go back to a combination you had earlier? I think that that's kind of where we could find ourselves in trouble here, because 10 games in, we don't know any of these lines. It's not good at all. Has Bugner tried stacking the lines? Maybe kind of at the beginning. All I know is we put up, 8 goals in 2 games against Arizona? You might want to go back to that, Bobby. You might want to give that a shot, coach. I look at the way that Nieto, Gambrell, Sorensen, those guys have been carrying the way more so. And Donato, I won't forget about Donnie Boy. But the bottom 6 can handle itself, I believe. Maybe get back to what just looks logical on paper. And I love that he wants to balance the lines out. You need that in the NHL. But right now, guys, we need goals. We need goals. If you have to put, Couture, Meyer, and Kane together, do it. Do it. Also, Kevin Labanc, last 4 games, pretty quiet. I liked his start to the season a lot. I certainly praised that earlier. But Vanker, been quiet. Good things happen when he's around the net. That's not the best part of his game necessarily. He's a great distributor, but that's where he's. That's the only other way he's been effective so far out there, in my opinion. Any advice for the Sharks when they have the 2-game series against the Kings? Advice? Yeah, I mean, I say just stack it as best as you can on paper. Go with that for the forward group. Keep Doobie in there. I know Jones plays pretty well against LA, and I think he could, rebound and play well. But no, I want Dubnyk in for the first game. Again, you got to start sending messages. He started, Bugner did that when he benched Hurdle in overtime yesterday. He did that by limiting Vlasic's minutes. Do it. Okay? Do it. Because Gambrell is earning his bread out there. He gives a crap. Knizhov, Ferraro, those guys are going in there and earning that. And they're doing they're doing, frankly, better than a couple of those guys I just mentioned right there. And it's shocking and it's disgusting and disappointing. And I cheer on all of these players. I cheer on all of them. I'm not just going to single one guy out necessarily, because the proof's in the pudding with multiple players out there, I believe. Do they miss Jumbo and Pavelski? I don't know about Jumbo quite as much, because I think the bottom 6 has looked good the last few games, not necessarily offensively. Banker looks clueless out there. Yeah, I mean, he's just missing in action from what I see. I hardly even noticed the guy, to be frank, because I only have I guess I'm only watching one guy with a right-handed shot right now, and that's Gambrell or Shemilevsky if he comes back, sure. Pavelski, yeah, there's something about that you got to think is missing, is lacking. This team has plenty of veterans out there. Couture's a hell of a leader by example. And I think that, when I hear about how he's frank and how he's critical, I trust that. I'm not going to hang this all on him. I'm going to hang it around the veteran group. That's where it is. Okay. Because I mentioned this earlier. It doesn't matter who the heck their coach is. Those guys have played in plenty of NHL games. They played with each other for a number of years. They know better. I would think that they have a sense of what helps them click. That's what I'm trying to say. You feel bad for Dubnyk? Yeah, you're exactly right, Brian. I completely agree. Dubnyk, even with a 3.23 goals against heading into this game, I think he's looked good. Not amazing, but he's looked good. There have only been 1 or 2 goals in his first, 3 or 4 starts where I've been like, really? And that's even a stretch, I would say. So anyway, guys, you know what? I could talk about this a little bit more, but that's pretty much my bit. If you have any questions here, hey AJ, what's up? If you have any questions, I'll just entertain them for a couple of minutes, and then we'll wrap up here. Again, I got to get up early because I'm heading to the mountain to do some snowboarding and hopefully get this damn shootout loss out of my head. So, see these notes right here? All right. So what's going on, guys? Knizhov and Ferraro, they've looked good. Oh, and now you're looking at the young D core. That could be better, I suppose. Score 4 on Gibson, but only 1 on Miller, right? I mean, love me some Ryan Miller. The Sharks just didn't have they didn't generate good quality chances against Miller. That's another thing too. 1, 2, like Burns and Carlson, I saw very little actually shot in from the point from them. Maybe that is actually a reflection of how they're being deployed out there, especially Burns. But I do think that's stop littering. Whatever. The Sharks threw up plenty of trash over the ice tonight, so if you can't beat them, join them. Seen other teams wearing their reverse retros. I mean, I haven't watched much hockey other than the Sharks or, live streams here and there. But, hey, I liked watching the Kings in those purple unis a couple of days ago. So I'll give them some bones for that. The St. Louis Blues uniforms with those, that is an eyesore to say the least. But, yeah, keep it. Anyway, Sorensen, Nieto, Gamby. Yeah. Okay, well, hey, we're watching the same game, huh? How is Cortana? Oh, she got a lot of sleep tonight, so nice and cuddly. Yeah, but you're right, Ryan. Still plenty of time. But the thing is that when every game there's a series of adjustments from Bugner, that's where I'm kind of concerned because he's not like, okay, I'll shuffle the bottom 6 a little bit, but I'm not touching the top 6 because they're producing. It's not like that. He's saying there's something wrong pretty much in the top 6. First couple of games, it was the bottom 6 where there were problems. But the thing is, you're seeing all these changes. And for a team that, they had a couple of weeks to train together, but they didn't have any game experience together, where you could have maybe tried a couple of different changes before the actual regular season started right there. Donato should be in every shootout? Absolutely. I wish that we could choose him every time, like TJ Oshie. You like my Sharks jerseys? Oh, thank you. Need to beat the Kings twice. Yeah, get 3 points out of 4, and win a damn game in regulation, guys. What's it going to take? Do you need like a 6-0 lead? My goodness. Anyway. Any other final questions around this, guys? Would I do everything before? I'm not going to watch. I don't think I necessarily plan on watching the full Super Bowl, but I'll be back by about 5 o'clock and watch, about 3 hours of commercials and about 2 minutes of game. Just shooting the puck instead of trying to make a move in the shootout. I won't even complain about the shootout. For us to be 3-1 is actually a gift. We weren't that good of a team in the shootout, so that's the least of my concerns, honestly. They would blow a 6-0 lead? Probably. At this rate? I don't know. With Dubnyk in net, no. Give Dubnyk 3 goals in the first 2 periods, and we get ourselves a win in regulation. I'm pretty convinced. Yeah, Zach, I'm not going to hang this on Couture either. Whereas I had maybe felt that heat sort of rising when Marleau and Thornton were captains, I don't see that with Couture. I think he's a lot more akin to Pavelski, to be frank. If we disappoint this season, who goes, Doug or Bob? Bob's only had a year, really. I wouldn't hang it on Bob, frankly. Again, it's nothing to do. I don't think that the coaching is nearly as much of a blame factor as it is the players. And the thing is, if you still trot the same veteran core out there, they should still have the chemistry, that common understanding. And that's not coming through in their game. And I know that they're not happy about it either. I've heard Couture. I've heard Brent Burns. You listened to his interview last night. He tried to answer a question, a fairly simple question. He could have given like a normal hockey answer. He spent like at least, I want to say, about 90 seconds really trying. He had to pause a lot between his words. He was really, I could tell that he really does feel the weight of some of these lackluster performances, these inconsistencies. That's good to see out there. I was thinking about that earlier today too. I'm glad that I saw that from somebody other than Logan Couture. That's important. So the first thing, guys, when it comes to, making decisions, when it comes to making improvements, when it comes to, propelling yourself and overcoming these obstacles, the first step is awareness. The Sharks need to know what their problems are. And of course, they need to know what that is beyond the surface too. And I think that you saw that from Burns last night. You saw that awareness there. The next step is assessment. This is a martial arts thing here. So assessment. And that's, I think, maybe more so on Boughner to kind of help spur, I guess, in terms of, well, are we going to play the defenseman up a little bit more? Look at the kind of scenarios. I would think the action part is purely on the players. I would say, being able to know what decisions to make out there. Maybe you think that you want to go with play A in your head, essentially. But you have to know when you have to know the moment at which you have to decide that in order to make the switch over. I don't know. I'm a little verbal diarrhea right now. I'm a bit tired, but again, ultimately it comes down to the players. The coaches are kind of like a vehicle for that, I would say. But just because you're not in a vehicle doesn't mean you can't travel on foot or on a skateboard. So, that's why the pieces haven't fallen yet for this team, frankly. The Sharks need me. Yes, let's get a coaching staff of me and Drew Remenda. Yeah, we'll man the bench. I'd be happy to guest coach and just be a water boy, probably. Do I think going back to the Shark Tank will motivate them more? I'm honestly concerned that it won't. For this team to be home for a week and then to turn in that performance immediately after, that's concerning to me. I'd rather see. The thing is, when we had the Vegas games canceled, postponed, excuse me, when the Vegas games were postponed, I said, you know what? I don't like this. This team is getting off. Frankly, they just put in just embarrassing performance against Colorado in a couple of ways. Dubnyk, fantastic in that second game, and the penalty kill overall still pretty good. And I said, no, we can't they don't need to be off the hook. They need to keep playing. I mean, I wish that they would have come back to play those games at home, but that gap there, that's something that I thought was going to be a bit of a Trojan horse for them. And it kind of almost seems like it. What I think about Ricky Bobby saying, if you're not first, you're last. That's what it seems like now, Diz guy. Absolutely. Because this team is not showing the competitiveness over the course of 60 minutes. If they were showing that on a more consistent basis, then they wouldn't feel like they were last out there. I would much rather see, a team of a forward core that's 12 of, Gambrell and Sorensen and Nieto out there and Donato. I'd rather see those guys cloned 3 times over and trotted out there, because I bet you anything they would put together those 60 minutes much better than, seeing Meyer out there for the course of the game, Hurdle out there for the course of the game. It pains me to say that, honestly. Waterboy me. Yeah. As a player, oh boy. Buddy, I don't even know if I can backskate on a sheet of ice. What happened to John Madden, the assistant coach? Yeah, Brian, I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about that. Is that why Ricci's behind the bench? I'm not entirely sure. You think the complete fall for the Sharks was the extension of Karlsson and letting Pavelski walk? Yes, and maybe not. The Karlsson contract is killer, not because necessarily of retaining Pavelski. I think it's more killer in that the Sharks could not address some of their needs in a more well-rounded fashion by extending Karlsson. If they knew that Knyzhov and Ferraro were going to come in, I think this team would have been fine defensively, frankly. But hindsight's 2020. I wouldn't have minded having some of that cap space left over, though, so the Sharks could have brought in Eric Howla. So then maybe Tomas Hertl could have played the wing, or Jesper Fast. So this team had a Swedish Army knife out there. I know those are depth pieces right there. Or Toffoli even. Could you imagine that if the Sharks had Toffoli instead of giving Kevin LeBanc nearly $5 million when I haven't seen his ass on the ice the last couple of games? Not to mention, as I've said this many times before, Toffoli played for many years in SoCal, and his wife is from Shark City, basically an hour away. Grew up on the same street. Played Mario Kart together growing up. Cool chick. Shout out. So yeah, I'm in a full realm of frustration right now with you guys. But immigration paperwork. Okay, that makes sense now. Yeah, we gave up 2 goals, right? 2 or fewer. We've talked about that before too. But in order for 2 or fewer to work, you still have to be threatening at the other end of the ice, and this team simply didn't do that in this game. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I would totally entertain this even more if we were earlier in the day. It's getting kind of late though, so I'm going to actually be signing off for this one. Don't want to ramble on all too much because I'm going to be carrying this forward subsequently. So make sure, if you haven't already, stay in the loop, hitting the red subscribe button down below and the notifications bell, especially as that pertains to me doing live streams like this. I don't do this for the Sharks all that often, but I have all sorts of content planned, of course. Tomorrow, though, I'm going to hit Silver Mountain, do some snowboarding, and take my mind off of this. But of course, I've always got my mind on you Twisters. You know what I mean? Anyway, guys, that's going to conclude it for this evening. Make sure you give a thumbs up, show your support for the channel that way, and I'll catch you guys later. I'm an old man there, sports geeks. Do you have gray on your around your temples? Because I do. So I need some sleep. I'm getting tired. I'll catch you Twisters later. Have a good night. Kisses.